Decisions.
I had to go with the big hat because I am fair. Let's face
Fair
it.
enough.
Got my pencils.
Oh, you did? You got
I have more in the car, but
dear.
Cody's like, you better bring some pencils.
Nice work. Wranglerstar exclusive.
It's totally silly.
I'm taking a bath.
We're at the Santa Rosa Fairgrounds and we're heading in for the Heirloom Expos. This is not opening day, we missed it. But there's some really great speakers today, so we'll try to give you a little recap of the amazing things we learned from them. Mounting.
This is really cool.
And you get to see all the varieties. You get to buy all the seeds too if you want.
Amazing. When you see this, you just think, how can I be eating something out of a box? Look at this. It's amazing. Text you and we'll hook up together. It's gonna be fun.
Have fun.
You too.
Not only are they benefiting the earth by their deep taproots that break up that compact soil, and they re-fertilize the soil every year by composting their leaves and building up the topsoil again and again. So they're regenerating our human disturbance, because that's the niche of these wild weeds, is our walking around, scuffing about, developing, making roads and trails. Wherever we disturb earth, these wild plants, these wild weeds come in as their niche and they thrive. So in the first step, they're just regenerating the earth. And then the second is, if we realize how valuable they are, they become free food and free medicine for all of humanity, for all of those wild weed-eating humans.
The Willamette Valley has nurtured world-famous seed production throughout the past century, and many of our seed farms are multi-generational operations, profitable and supportive of a high-value industry, since more vegetable seed is produced in the Willamette Valley than anywhere else in the U.S. Oregon seed crops are being grown on more than 16,000 acres and were valued at $37 million a year, primarily in the Willamette Valley. Today, this priceless, pristine growing environment has entered the global debate about contamination of seed by other crops, notably canola. The required purity of broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, kale, chard, and other brassica seed could be compromised if canola plants, which are also brassicas, are grown west of the Cascades, both GMO and not. At stake is our premier vegetable seed industry, and the Department of Agriculture jury is still out. One of the plants is the sour gherkin, which is the most incredible cucumber. It grows like 4 feet tall, 150, 200 little teeny miniature cucumbers that look like little watermelons that taste like a cucumber with salad dressing already on it. Totally awesome. Mexican sour gherkin. In 2012, we played around with this Amy Stewart collection and also made drinking vinegars. So another reason to go to our website, because we wrote a brochure about our summer with drinking vinegars. There's so many things you can do. It's one of the oldest ways to preserve the merits of your produce. It started in Asia, then it came over in Elizabethan times where they were doing drinking vinegars. Came with the colonists. The pioneers would have horn over their shoulder and have raspberry drinking vinegar in it, and when they worked their farms and fields, and then they'd have their nutrition with their drinking vinegar. But all you do is you muddle any vegetable, any herb, and you, at the bottom of a quart jar, cover it with sugar. Can be any kind of sugar, there's a zillion kinds. Cover it with vinegar. There's so many kinds of vinegar, they all work. Muddle it, and then every day stir it for 2 weeks. filter it, and then refrigerate it, and that is a drinking vinegar. You really don't have to refrigerate it, but we do. And to make a shrub is to mix drinking vinegar with something else, usually soda water. A lot of people put alcohol in it, but it's the most refreshing drink, and all that's on our website, blogHouseplants.com.
And so, as you can see, agricultural topsoils around the planet used to be 6-10% organic matter. Today, they're about 1-2% organic matter, 1-3%. And last November, about a year ago, California Department of Food and Ag, CFA, announced that California now averages 1% soil organic matter in our ag lands. Not something to be proud of. Very clearly, disturb your soil as little as possible. Grow as many species of plants as practical. Keep living plants in the soil as often as possible, and keep the soil covered all the time, as often as possible. So, of those, the very first one I'll just cover quickly, which is what I just covered. It's tillage. How do you disturb the soil as little as possible? You stop tilling the soil. You stop degrading microbiology and beating it up and cutting it in half and chopping it up. You stop breaking all the aggregates into smaller and smaller sizes to have greater surface area to multiply the nutrients. So really, you have to pull tillage out of the system.
This has been so fabulous. There's some really amazing speakers. I'll do a recap at the end of the day because each hour there's a new speaker and they're all going up to their allotted time, so there isn't a lot of time for me to give you a rundown, but I'm taking great notes and there's going to be a lot of videos coming out of this. I can guarantee you that.
And he said, you know, we didn't know that if you dewatered a stream and you could be organic, that, you know, that was necessarily a problem. It really wasn't on their mind. And so the most advanced thinkers, even 30, 40 years ago, really weren't considering this concept of the farm as an organism within a living landscape. And the conservation biologists really needed, those farmers really needed that sustainable agriculture conservation because all those linkages that are missing between the big areas of biodiversity have to go through farmlands and through grazing lands and through forests and through public lands. And so somehow the two things had to come together. And my project at the time, I think I started in 1999 or so, started going around the country, and I was really looking to see, well, how wild can a farm be and still be economically viable for the farmer? And how much agriculture can take place in one of these linkages, one of these wild ways, and still protect enough biodiversity that's going to satisfy the need to keep our species and our ecosystems healthy and ongoing. So I always like to start my talks about agriculture with this slide of the caves of Lascaux, because it's one of the most indelible artworks that we have in human history. It took place 17,000 years or so ago. These were our early human ancestors. They had fire, they had stones, they had very, very limited tools, but their imaginations were alive with this creaturely world that was around them. And out of this creaturely world, and out of this, you know, eat or be eaten type of environment came our agriculture.
Do you have a lot of chickens? Or is he the only one?
He's my favorite, but I have about 200 total at home. And it's not just chickens. I have 8 species of poultry. 7 species of poultry plus pigeons, I should say. Poultry implies that they're more of a gallinaceous type bird. Pigeons are flying type birds. Are you a good boy? Norman? Norman!
He's very photogenic.
Oh,
He is very
he is. He's really just become my favorite bird over the past year or so that I've had him.
I love your food.
I'm standing here barefoot.
My girls eat it.
I got my shoes on.
next round. Sorry, excuse me. Hey! You're good. Alright, so this one is Firewalker. This one has reishi, rhodiola, lacuna, and habanero. This one, keep it in the front of your palate and let it unfold in layers, right? So the capsaicin is being insulated right now by the cocoa butter, so it'll just take a moment to get there.
Good? Fire water.
So it's just a tiny cup.
Yeah. I mean, have as much as you want.
Did you get the kick?
House ceremony, you might sit there. Right now,
That's amazing.
Habanero.
the green is like.
We did.
Can I draw it now
What percentage of your customers are female?
It's just like you hear a whole bunch of ladies laughing. You're like, oh, what's going on over there?
Do it in a blender or whisk it. The key is the agitation with the hot water. Whip that up and get that air in there. They used to take chocolate vats and pour them back and forth to create that frothy chocolate. All you have to do is just flip your blender.
I'm a millennial.
So
Yes, perfect. Traditional experience.
They don't, you're saying shake it with hot water.
Yes. Okay, so the next one though, now we're gonna kind of expand the concept of what chocolate is, right? It's not chocolate you're used to, but it should be. And this one has the flavor profile of Turkish coffee meets masala chai. It's got turmeric, maca, shilajit, and cardamom. And shilajit,
Wonderful.
yeah. And shilajit,
It's totally awesome.
I mean, you just like when he's saying things like cardamom, turmeric.
Oh yeah, no, he's totally. I tried everything all over the fair, and I'm back here. Yeah, I'm going to be a chocolate addict, and I'm one of his fans. He's totally awesome.
it's the cacao gods, right? We're all serving the cacao gods.
So far, it's 100% women.
Josie, coffee that my mom makes.
Oh, really?
She puts a lot of cardamom in her coffee.
Oh,
Yes,
my mom
like a
does.
Turkish coffee.
Well, she's Swedish.
Oh. Well, that would be a Turkish coffee. Except for maybe she pulls the grounds out. Do you want a video of you?
I am videoing you right now.
Okay, so this one, right, has shilajit, which is an earth pitch, and in Ayurvedic medicinals, it is known as the mover of mountains. So the goal with Global Warrior is to push an obstacle out of the
Wow.
The original.
Yeah. Here you have it. The original.
That one is the chilled original.
Oh, okay. And what is this one?
Original, but hot. Yes.
No, it has like fruit in it or something.
Yeah, we called it our original. Because that was our original. Not like traditional, but the first cocoa blend. And then this is it chilled right there.
Oh.
Just to show you kind of the way you can use it and the difference. And with all of this, if you were to take it and put it in a cup, and then put
I
it
like
in...
it chill.
Glad you like it.
Oh, yeah.
If you take it and put it in the fridge, it'll become a mousse in about 6 hours.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. This is the thing, Corinne, is when I'm with you, I buy. Sorry, Cody.
I should get out.
Thank you. And I'm going to go one of each.
Perfect. Just add hot water and shake, right? So think like James Bond, shake and not stir. And you'll get that perfect outcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
You just to go this way. Okay.
Corinne, you're trouble.
Okay. You just receive it.
Beautiful. What kind of reeds are these?
This one is made out of straw, which is made from Ghana. Okay. And you can see all of the different sizes. They are different sizes.
Your baskets are beautiful.
This is really, really well done.
Especially the shaping, right?
Yeah, the shaping is extra impressive.
Nice. It's got garlic. It's lovely.
That's what I thought so.
So we're here talking to somebody about salt. How did you get started making salt?
So a couple years ago, I saw a guy online making salt, and I saw the crystals forming in the water, and I was quite fascinated at the whole process. So I started with 5-gallon buckets on the kitchen countertop and started very small, trying to figure out how to make good salt. From there, I realized once I could make good salt, I wanted to scale up productions. After I got to more salt and I started my 4-ounce bags, I launched with those, and then I needed more production and I kept on growing. Now I'm up in Humboldt producing salt, and I'll soon be in Washington, Oregon, and Northern California by the end of the year. That was my whole spiel.
That's fabulous. I love small businesses, because I mean, like, people have a dream and they go for it.
You just gotta make it.
Metro area, the minimum wage is going to go up to $14.75 by 2022. But in the suburbs, it's going to go up to $13.50, and then in the rural areas, it's going to go up to $12.50.
Well, this is the simple magical recipe I take with me every time I do a cooking class when I make fresh pasta from scratch in inner city schools in Los Angeles where I live. I go in, I spread out this simple equation: 1 cup of flour, 1 egg. Even though there's a little fallacy there, don't try it at home. It may be a little dry right there. You have to add a little water, but that's okay. It stays in their mind. 1 cup of flour, 1 egg. I give it to the kids. They make the dough. They work it together. If you were lucky enough to be here earlier this morning at 10 o'clock, we did that with 125 kids at the same time. It was quite a sight. So they mix the dough. They make the pasta dough, they roll it with rolling pin, or they help me with the pasta machine, they cut it with cookie cutters, we cook it, and 20 minutes after I step into their classroom, they're eating the food that they made themselves. And they come to me and say, I'm a chef, right? It's beautiful, right? And I know what you're thinking. In the program, we're talking about raising American families' food IQ, and you're thinking, well, why is this guy talking about pasta? You know, probably he ate too much pasta in his life himself, right? But there's nothing wrong with pasta in small quantity, in a well-balanced diet. But what I'm trying to teach when I do these classes is a healthy attitude towards food.
In 1934 and 36, during the Great Depression as well as Dust Bowl, those 2 particular years were some of the worst droughts that was ever experienced. And my grandmother actually lived in Kansas. So it was very bad out there, especially because that's part of the Great Depression region and the Dust Bowl region that was hit. And she had this growing during the Depression, and it was one of the only green things that actually survived. So you knew you had something special, and it was selected for drought tolerance. Drought tolerance, this pure yellow color that you see that a lot of reed yellow dents don't have, there's upwards of probably 300 different strains of reed yellow dent. Every farmer that laid hands on it saved some strain of it and some form of it. But this is one of the purest. And how do I know that? I have been in contact with one of the last remaining descendants of the reed family.